Hello and welcome. It's nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. The need to place national interest above sectional or personal interests has been reiterated by the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption in order to tackle corruption in the country. This surfaced at the screening of board members of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Related Offences Commission, ICPC. National Assembly correspondent Omotola Omojola has details.
9 nominees from different walks of life representing the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria, including 26-year-old Hannatu Mohammed from Jigawa, were screened by the committee. While questioning the nominees on diverse issues bordering on corruption, the senators emphasized on the need for due diligence in the operations of the incoming board, if confirmed, to achieve efficiency in the running of the commission.
We really have to make things work in this country. You see, in any country where there is no fear of repercussion, where you don't have any fear for wrongdoing, that's why you have impunity. It means you must be exposed to the best practices, international best practices, so that you can do this job and do it well.
The imperative of jettisoning political and sectional loyalty for national interest was also stressed for the board to carry out its responsibility without fear of favor. From the National Assembly, Omotola Omojola, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Senate has received executive communication from President Muhammadu Buhari requesting the confirmation of nominees as chairman and members of Governing Board of Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA. The presidential request has 8 appointees, with Tunde Lemo as chairman and 7 others as executive directors. The request was referred to the Senate Committee on FEMA for screening. Meanwhile, the legislators have confirmed the appointment of Abdul Malik Mohammed as a commissioner for the National Population Commission. Also, the Senate passed for first reading a bill on the suppression of piracy and other maritime offences Bill 2018 and the Police Academy Establishment Bill. Now, if the war against corruption being championed by President Muhammadu Buhari must be won, there is a need for public office holders and civil servants to maintain high level of integrity at all times. The Assistant Commandant General, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Zone F, Wahid Popola, said this at the 7th Annual Anti-Corruption Seminar of the Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, in Abeokuta. Hakim Jimo reports.
Speaking on the topic, values reorientation as the panacea in curbing corruption, the guest speaker and the Assistant Commandant General in charge of Zone F, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Wahid Popola, decried the rate at which corruption had over the years eaten deep into the society before the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration took a bold step to fighting the cankerworm. To successfully win the war against corruption in the country, the resource person advocated attitudinal change and values reorientation among public office holders, civil servants and other members of the society.
We should not live because of what we want to eat, to spoil what we want to become. We should not bank on money affairs.
On his part, the Ogun State Director of Federal Road Maintenance Agency, FEMA, Alexander Mazoyer, the annual event has become an avenue in which the agency canvasses support for the federal government anti-corruption crusade.
In all our projects, we have our staff who come out to supervise such projects. Because without supervision, you can't trust some contractors. They might want to cut corners. So we do this apart from what we do in the office from time to time.
He stressed the need for stakeholders to collaborate with relevant agencies to win the war against corruption.
And from the House of Representatives, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, and the National Petroleum Investment Management Services have been given 1 week to present details on execution of contracts for the upgrade of oil pipeline projects. Chairman, House Committee on Gas Resources, Frederick Agbedi, made this known during an investigative hearing on the matter. John Yaku has more.
The House Committee is investigating the variance in the initial contract sum and the actual amount paid for OML 58 Upgrade 1, the execution of Obite-Rumiji Pipeline and the Northern Option Pipeline projects. At its last sitting in August, the committee resolved that the agencies involved should present all the necessary documents relating to the execution of the contracts at least 2 weeks before its next sitting. However, the NNPC and NAPIMS were not available or represented at the resumed sitting.
NNPC should be so told that what they have done is a total disrespect and disregard for Parliament.
After invitation, if there is no compliance thereto, Mr. Chairman, there is a summon.
The committee emphasized that it cannot conclude its assignment in the absence of the two key agencies and therefore gave them up to 24th of October to appear before it with the relevant documents which are crucial to the ongoing investigation.
All the perspectives that are required to be canvassed in this investigation should please be handy on that day.
The execution of the contracts were alleged to have been delayed, resulting to increase in contract sum, which was paid without approval. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
Still from the House, concerned about the impact of broadcast content of television and cable service on education, development of youths and children, the House is in the process of amending the National Broadcasting Commission Act. The amendment seeks to ensure broadcast service providers run education programs in line with Nigerian school syllabus and curriculum. The bill, jointly sponsored by Chairman House Committee on Information Olusegun Odebumi and Abiodun Faleke, which passed second reading, would also strengthen the NBC and make it a more effective regulator of broadcast in Nigeria. Lagosians react to Senate's directive on CBN to suspend ATM card maintenance charges. Hingino in Lagos brings us an update on this and more. Hello, Hingino. It's over to you.
Thank you, Lydia, and welcome to Lagos. The Chief Judge of Lagos State, Justice Okpeyemi Oke, has reiterated the commitment of the Lagos State government to speedy dispensation and delivery of justice, without compromising the fundamental principles of fair hearing and the rule of law. The Chief Judge met the pledge at the 2018-2019 Legal Year Summit on Civil Procedure Rules in Lagos. Nosa Osula reports.
The Chief Judge of Lagos State, Justice Okpeyemi Oke, had set up a 15-man committee in January to review the High Court of Lagos State Civil Procedure Rules 2012. The Chief Judge at the time said the review became necessary to enhance the speed of justice dispensation in civil cases and thereby restore public confidence. At the summit, the Chief Judge reaffirmed the commitment of the state government to pursue vigorously the goal to have a corrupt and hitch-free judiciary.
All the challenges, we are looking into it, and we want to make sure that their cases are disposed of on time. We are not going to tolerate unnecessary adjournments from your lawyers anymore.
We must endeavor, and that is what Lagos State is doing, making sure that the laws must adapt and readapt to what the society, to what the communities need.
The chairman of the Rules Review Committee, Justice Kazim Alugba, emphasized on the need to guarantee effectiveness, efficiency, and transparency in justice administration in the state.
A lot of changes are taking place in the world and in the society that we serve and internationally too. So the necessity for reviewing some of these rules is as a result of emerging changes in the world, and with particular reference to our profession.
The summit was organized by the state judiciary to deliberate on how to improve justice delivery in the state. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Lagosians have reacted to the resolutions by the Senate towards the suspension of charges on ATM withdrawals, account maintenance charges, and other fees imposed by banks on depositors. Amako sought the views of a cross-section of respondents and reports.
Barely 24 hours after the Senate passed a resolution calling on the Central Bank of Nigeria to instruct deposit money banks to suspend deduction of bank charges, especially on ATM card maintenance, many Lagosians are applauding the move, describing it as people-oriented. Patrick Emezue and Judith Okonkwo are among those who say their action has been used by banks to shortchange customers.
There's an estimate that about 76 million Nigerians own bank accounts and ATMs, and if each person is to pay 65 naira, that's an outrageous amount being taken from people's accounts, and it's ridiculous.
ATM maintenance, I mean, what are they maintaining? You pay for ATM 1,000 naira. Sometimes they charge you 1,050 naira, 1,100, depending on the bank. So why are they charging you extra money for maintaining ATM?
What do I say is not proper? They advise us to use ATM because of the less costs, charges. Then now using ATM now and they're deducting 65 naira. It's not proper.
Others, like Tunji Ajiboye, are advocating a balance be created in the interest of the bank and customers.
There should be a balance. The banks should be encouraged to roll out more ATM machines, which cost them money, but there should be a balance in the charges they charge per transaction, then to a maximum of 10 transactions per month.
It really affects us, especially with the low-income earners. Someone like me, I have money in account for many years. I don't touch the money, and they are using it for business. Then what's the sense of deducting money from my ATM again?
Automated teller machines contribute to making life easy for millions of Nigerians across the country. These customers are, however, lending their voices to the clamor by the Nigerian Senate that there should be a review of the bank charges in the interest of customers. In Lagos, Amaka Owo, NTA News.
Let's now go to Benin as we join Obehi Otobo Aprecia for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Hingeno. Glad to have you join us in Benin. The Delta State government has proposed the sum of 367.09 billion naira for the 2019 fiscal year. This is contained in the proposal christened Budget of Sustainable Growth, presented to the State House of Assembly by Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Austin Edemodu has details.
A breakdown of the budget indicates the sum of 157 billion naira for recurrent expenditure, representing 42.79%, while capital expenditure will go up over 209 billion naira, representing 57.21% of the entire budget proposal. There is a significant increase of over 50 billion naira compared to 2018 budget of over 308 billion naira.
The major thrust of the 2019 budget proposal is to reflect the economy and better manage the level of exposure as a government.
The state is projecting the sum of 73.4 billion naira as internally generated revenue for the year, representing 20% of the total projected revenue. The sum of 217.8 billion naira, or 61.5% of the projected total revenue for 2019 fiscal year, is expected to come from statutory allocation. A further breakdown of the proposed budgets indicates that road infrastructure receives 79.6 billion naira, education will go up 26.8 billion naira. The health sector has 8.6 billion naira budgetary estimate, while the agricultural sector has been allocated the sum of 2.9 billion naira. The motion for the adoption of the proposed budget for further consideration was moved by the majority leader Tim Owefere, seconded by the member representing the Kano North East, Tony Eleka Okori. And Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
The newly inaugurated governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, has abolished the payment of education levy by students of public and private schools in the state. Monthly stipend for the elderly has also been restored. Kola Adebuboye reports that this was announced during a thank you tour of the state.
The thank you tour to the senatorial district was initiated
and embarked on by Governor Kayode Fayemi to appreciate the purposeful step of people of various local governments comprising the South Senatorial District in re-electing him to govern the state again for positive development. The governor was given a rousing welcome in Ekiti, where people from the Senatorial District converged. He told the gathering that he will not compromise in his efforts to run an all-inclusive government to achieve the needed growth in the state. Governor Fayemi also promised to alleviate the sufferings of the masses, improve economic status of the state, and prioritize payment of salary, as well as collaborate with the federal government and other critical stakeholders to achieve good governance. He, however, declared free education in public primary and secondary schools henceforth, with school feeding program to commence before the end of the year. Dr. Fayemi also announced cancellation of development fee imposed on pupils and students in private schools by the immediate past government in the state to reduce the burden of entrenching quality education. Some of the people believe the new government will bring the needed growth to the state. From Ekiti, Kola Adebobuyi, NTA News.
Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State is of the view that government should have a renewed focus to develop other ports, including the proposed Ondo Deep Sea Port. He says this is viable and can open a new business window for Nigeria. Doris Olumoko reports that this is the position he expressed when he received a preliminary report on the proposed project from foreign technical partners.
Ondo State has the longest coastline in Nigeria, with a shoreline covering about 180 kilometers. The proposed deep sea port, apart from decongesting the Lagos ports, will go a long way to boost the economic growth of the state and the nation at large.
Take decisions based on facts, based on what you believe is good for the country. But we are still on it. And the floating dock that we're asking for is at least, we thought if we have it now, to be a beginning.
Progress work on the proposed Ondo Deep Sea Port continues with the release of the conceptual plan for the project in 4 weeks' time. In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues after this break. Stay with us.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
For years, the NTA has been promoting science, technology, arts and crafts under the tagged name National Children's Expo. We are set with another edition as we gather children around Nigeria, junior category ages 6 to 12 and senior category ages 13 to 18. The theme for Expo 2018, achieving self-sufficiency in agriculture, meeting the challenges of security and exposition of alternative energy as pathways to national development. Date, October 21st to 25th, 2018. Venue, NTA Headquarters Arena, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. We are set to celebrate the best of innovation across the country. NTA ETV, promoting learning.
Can you write? First Entertainment Ideas Concept, in conjunction with National Commission for Museum and Monuments, presents Latin America Motorcycle Association Rediscover Nigeria Tour. Touring Nigerian Museum and Heritage Sites in 13 states and 13 days from the 23rd of October 2018. Chief Host, Honorable Minister for Information, Arts and Culture, Lai Mohammed. For sponsorship details, call Ernest on 090-3456-4388. Godwin 080-3701-5237. Uzoma 080-2980-0549. Selong 080-3225-0153. Umar 080-9440-9719. Lama, touring to rediscover.
Get your kitchen weapons ready. Get your skills warmed up, because in this game, the seasoned warrior wins. Get ready for North Taste Quest 5, the special anniversary season, showing on DSTV Africa Magic Family and GoTV Africa Magic on Sundays at 7 p.m. and 6 p.m. on NTA and AIT. North Taste Quest, Battle of Flavors.
Welcome back and thanks for being there. And from Abuja, the National Economic Council has approved the declaration of state of emergency on education by the various state governments in the country. Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu announced this while briefing journalists after the meeting of the council presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. This, he said, is to ensure the application of multi-frontal approach towards tackling the various factors mitigating against the achievement of national education objective.
Federal government and state to allocate a minimum of 15% of the state budget or federal budget to education in order to revitalize that sector. To constitute special task force to manage funds and oversee the infrastructural overhaul of selected schools for intervention across the federation.
The Edo State Deputy Governor Philip Shaibu. Next, Nigerians have continued to react to the World Bank's admission on the wrong advice given to Nigeria for about 2 decades on development. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria, however, stressed the need for government to focus on sustainable infrastructure and human capital development to achieve inclusive growth. Murjana to Adam Said has more.
Nigeria is one of the 189 member nations of the World Bank, from which all the countries receive financial and technical support. However, the World Bank President, Jim Yong Kim, at the International Monetary Fund and World Bank Group annual meeting in Indonesia, admitted the bank's mistake in advising Nigeria to focus on infrastructure rather than other social needs. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria attributed Nigeria's inability to achieve the desired development to inadequate planning and does not need to take all the advice being offered by the international organizations.
What is driving the service sector in Nigeria is Human Development Index. You know, it's ICT, you see those sectors that are doing well, Nollywood, all of those sectors in the sector. So they have potential and we need to support that.
We have a lot of Nigerians who are very well trained in various sectors and areas of the economy that can provide advice.
During the First Republic, we had a national development plan. Up to the time when the military came into governance, we had a national development plan that were being rolled. But subsequently, what happened? We were not planning.
If you take a look at consistency in policy making, that's another challenge that we have. So that's a big problem that we need to address very, very quickly.
The guests call for restructuring of the nation's economy and encourage concession, public-private partnership, as well as privatization and political backing to pursue infrastructural and human capital development. In Abuja, Murjana to Adam Said, NTA News.
And now to ICT. It is a brighter future for Nigeria's ICT sector as its new technologies are gaining global attention at the Gulf Information Technology Exhibition. Already, Some organizations are indicating interest to invest in the subsector. This was after the country showcased its latest innovations in ICT, robust opportunities, and policies that allow for ease of doing business at the African Investment Forum. Chimdima Ndubisi tells us more from Dubai.
Located as the gateway to northern, eastern and western African regions, where raw materials like cobalt and tantalum used in manufacturing laptops, batteries and other electronic devices are found, Nigeria can be said to be strategically positioned for the information and communication technology market in Africa. Another selling point for the country is its estimated population of 190 million, with more than 20 million of them using communication gadgets and a large percentage of the youth population ICT survey. In the second quarter of 2018 alone, the ICT subsector contributed about 12% to the country's gross domestic product. These are the attractions for Nigeria as it delivers its sales pitch at the African Investment Forum.
You can get visa on arrival, and this is a deliberate effort in order to make doing business easy in the country. You can go online and register your company with Corporate Affairs Commission. You can start the process and complete it within 48 hours without even going to the country. You can partner with us to develop capacity.
Country where you have 100% foreign ownership of companies, a place in Africa, a country where you have 100% repatriation of capital.
After seeing innovations on new technologies developed by young Nigerians, investors are already convinced and are asking questions on how to enter the country's ICT market.
Looking at the global ICT position, I think Nigeria is on the right track. Your leadership is doing a phenomenal job.
Take my time here to focus on the Nigerian market, whereby I think there's a lot of opportunity for us.
Members of the National Assembly are quick to add that enabling laws are also in place in the country. From Dubai, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
And back home, quality management and control of quantity surveying duties is a theme of a two-day workshop holding in Abuja, organized by the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. Joseph Johnson reports that participating key players in the sector are harping on the need for surveyors to enhance their capabilities in line with global best practices.
Financial and technical support. However, the World Bank President, Jim Yong Kim, at the International Monetary Fund and World Bank Group annual meeting in Indonesia, admitted the bank's mistake in advising Nigeria to focus on infrastructure rather than other social needs. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria attributed Nigeria's inability to achieve the desired development to inadequate planning and does not need to take all the advice being offered by the international organizations.
What is driving the service sector in Nigeria is Human Development Index. You know, it's ICT, you see those sectors that are doing well, Nollywood, all of those sectors in the sector, so they have potential and we need to support that.
We have a lot of Nigerians who are very well trained in various sectors and areas of the economy that can provide advice.
During the First Republic, we had a national development plan. Up to the time when the military came into governance, we had a national development plan that were being rolled. But subsequently, what happened? We were not planning.
If you take a look at consistency in policy making, that's another challenge that we have. So that's a big problem that we need to address very, very quickly.
The guests call for restructuring of the nation's economy and encourage concession, public-private partnership, as well as privatization.
We apologize for that mix-up. Moving on now, if there is life, there is hope. This is a classical example of workers of the defunct Nigeria Airways who resigned to fate following refusal of previous administrations to settle their entitlements several years after the liquidation of the national air carrier. However, reprieve came their way with the recent intervention of President Muhammadu Buhari, who directed the immediate release of funds to settle their entitlements. Awal Salisu, who monitored the verification in Kano, has a situation report.
These are former staff of the defunct Nigerian Airways who constitute 40% of the total number of pensioners to undergo verification.
This group of people are Nigerians who put in their best for the development of Nigerian Airways, but after liquidation of the company, their fate is hanging in the balance.
We are grateful to President Buhari because it's a promise fulfilled.
Certainly we have to be happy because we have waited for this very exercise for about 15 years now.
The 22.6 billion naira released as half payment for severance benefits, which is expected to commence after the verification, in which more than 5,000 staff are expected to be screened. Documents needed for the verification include letter of appointment, letter of confirmation, last promotion, and letter of retirement.
One thing certain is that the funds are ready, the verification staff are ready, they will not going to leave this place. Everybody here will be captured, and then the releases will be made as from next week.
He ordered for the creation of additional desks to cater for those that are omitted, adding that the exercise will continue until all of them are captured. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
Guests on NTA's current affairs program Moment for Thought say Nigeria in the last 3 years has recorded developmental strides that is receiving international commendations. The gains, they say, include fighting corruption, building robust economy, to tackling poverty and execution of capital projects that have direct bearings on the citizenry.
The first and foremost is that it was for national interest. The second aspect of it is that this is the first regime that has commenced the dualization of the road from Ekiti all the way to Calabar to Odukwane. That construction has started. Yes. We never saw that at all in 16 years.
You want to touch whether a fish is alive or not, it is from the tail you touch. And that is the reason why whenever you say anything contrary to the current regime, the citizenry will come in their mass and venture their anger against you. Because of what? Because they realize that the head is going correctly.
The program comes up tonight at 11:30 on the network service of the NTA. And now, poised to mitigate security challenges in the country through effective strategic communication between security agencies and the public, the Forum of Spokespersons of Security and Response Agencies have converged on Calabar for a 3-day capacity development program. Paul Abel has that report.
With the spate of different security challenges across the country and the difficulties encountered by security agencies in interfacing with the general public on intelligence gathering among other security issues, the seminar is meant to equip security spokespersons with appropriate skills to best engage the public. It is also geared towards partnering the media to change the narrative in favor of security agencies and the nation, especially in conflict areas.
Everything that we have, both in terms of equipment and our salaries are paid by Nigerians. We want partnership, we want synergy.
Participants were exposed to different security issues and challenges on public relations, Amnesty International, traditional and social media in Nigeria and Africa, among others. The forum was established in 2014 by the Office of the National Security Advisor with the major purpose of creating synergy in information management among security and response agencies. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Still on security, 8 suspects allegedly specialized in exhuming dead bodies, selling of human skulls, and engaging in ritual killings in Kwara and neighboring states have been paraded at the Force Headquarters, Abuja. Force Public Relations Officer Jimo Moshood disclosed that Aziz Yakub, a prime suspect among 8 others, have confessed to the crime using Ilorin Community's central burial ground situated after Eid praying ground in Ilorin, Kwara State, as one of their exhuming spots.
The suspect equally confessed to have sold outside the 11 skulls that we paraded with them today, to have sold 31 skulls, human skulls, to other prominent and other personalities in the lorry. And we equally want to send a note of warning to individuals and people, especially in Kwara and Ilorin, who might want to connive or have been conniving with this personality to desist.
The police spokesman reiterated that the war against crime will be fought and won. You're still watching Nationwide. Time for some more messages. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away.
Again, when we all gather at the Unity Forum to celebrate the uniqueness of our cultural diversity and showcase the beauty of our cultural creativity and ingenuity. It's the National Festival of Arts and Culture, NAFEST, in the Garden City of Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Come, let's celebrate our culture and heritage. Hold it 20th to 27th October 2018. Special features, dance drama, traditional wrestling, indigenous textiles and cuisine, arts and crafts exhibition, entrepreneurship roundtable, skills acquisition, and many more. 20th to 27th October 2018. Be a part of history. It's NAFEST Rivers 2018, the festival that unites the nation. Otumba Olusegun Runshewe, DG National Council for Arts and Culture, announced.
Join us every Saturday by 10 p.m. for Eye on the Road.
The program from the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA.
We'll bring you highlights of policies and programs on road maintenance. You'll hear from road users as well as those charged with maintaining the roads.
It's interactive, it's informative, it's educative.
It's Eye on the Road, showing Saturdays at 10 p.m.
Yeah, Modena. Do you have Java? Yes. And Abula? Yes, sir. Black or white? Yamala. Have I ever eaten white amala here before? Yes, sir. Give me amala and Abula. Do you have dodo? Dodo ground. Good. Let me have some dodo. I want to put the meat in a bowl. Shaki, suku, abodi. I like my edo to be very tender. You have stockfish? Yes, sir. Good. Let's have some stockfish. And catfish, my favorite. Don't mind them. You have eggs. I would like 6 boiled eggs. No eggs. Okay, catfish will do. And then rice. Rice and then some salad. Look. Do you have a guru?
Thanks for being there. Policy of any economy can only succeed if it is erected on a solid foundation of democracy. This was the consensus of experts at the inaugural Okali's Seminal Ideas Foundation for Africa, OSIFA, debate series in Abuja. Olayinka Ojo has more.
This is essentially an intellectual exercise designed to help us to scrutinize a position that we may have taken for granted.
Its mission is to combat the notion of Africa as but a consumer and not a producer of ideas.
Under the banner with the theme that the Western model of democracy has failed in Africa, participants at the debate are, however, of the view that it is not the indices of democracy that is the crux of the matter or its tenets, but the way it is operated by some political elites in the system. In its real sense, democracy is supposed to be people-oriented, attracting stakeholdership by all.
We can attempt to put in place a system of democracy that is hinged on our experience and our values.
Look at our indigenous settings and develop a form of governance that is closer to the people.
I therefore suggest that we should start with economic empowerment of the people.
Inclusive citizenship implies also that all citizens have equal rights.
So, to them, it is good governance that is lacking as adopted by African countries with Nigeria in focus. And this can only be achieved in the real principles of checks and balances among the three tiers of government. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide. For more stories, we'll now join Rukaya in our Kaduna Network Center. Hello, Rukaya. Good to see you.
Hello, Lydia, and welcome to Kaduna Network Center. In line with the federal government's policy on ease of doing business, the Kaduna state government says it will continue to create the enabling environment that will promote both local and foreign investments. The state's Deputy Governor, Barnabas Bala, stated this during an interaction with a delegation from 9 states who visited Kaduna State to understudy its implementation strategy of ease of doing business. Muhammad Umar Ajingi has the story.
The meeting was a follow-up to a workshop held in Abuja by representatives of the 9 states and a delegation from Kaduna State Investment Promotion Agency, who came together to explore the economic prospect of various states and learn from each other.
From the 6 geopolitical zones of this country on this learning tour because of the milestone achievements that Kaduna State government has made in the area of ease of doing business.
The Deputy Governor expressed satisfaction for the recognition by the group, acknowledging the fact that even though the administration has done excellently well in that regard, more will be done to attract profitable investment, which is said will mop up the unemployed youths roaming the street with certificates in search of jobs that are obviously not available.
What we are now seeing, the gradual return to peace, is largely the result of the fact that most of our youths that were on the street unemployed are now engaged in one form of business or the other, largely because the business environment in the state is being made better than where we met it.
Members of the delegation are from Ebonyi, Yobe, Niger, and Enugu states, among others. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Victims of recent flood in Kano State have received cash donation of 40 million naira and relief materials from the state government. Abdullahi Mustafa reports that the distribution was flagged off by the Kano State Deputy Governor Nasiru Yusuf Gawuna in Rimingado and Kabo local government areas.
At least 10 local government areas were hit by flooding experienced this rainy season in Kano State. The disaster, which destroyed a number of houses and farmlands, also claimed many lives in the affected areas. As an emergency assistance, Kano State government donated 100 million naira to the victims. The State Deputy Governor, Nasir Yusuf Gawuna, flagged off the distribution of the relief items at Rimingado local government area, where 329 households were affected. In addition to cash donation to injured and families of deceased victims, bundles of roofing sheets and bags of cement worth 40 million naira were presented to those whose houses were destroyed. The Deputy Governor said the extent of the destruction caused and hardships inflicted by the disaster is too enormous for the state government to handle alone.
Also call on well-meaning Nigerians that have the capacity to assist.
One of the victims, Musa Ado, was joined by the chairman and district heads of Rimingado in thanking the state government for the timely intervention. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Educationists in Jigawa State have applauded the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, for its educational television approach, describing it as another way to revamp the standard at the basic level. They spoke at a mini scientific expo organized by NTA Duze ahead of the national event coming up in Abuja on Monday. The report.
To produce a gas that will be an alternative energy.
The NTA Educational Television Expo is an annual event organized with the aim to develop and improve local technology, identify hidden talents, and support the nation's economic growth. In preparation of this year's event, NTA Duce hosted students from schools across the state to present their projects. Speakers at the occasion appealed to government to support the program and advised students to be innovative as science and technology are the drivers of development.
I think this is a very, very important venture which, of course, the ministry should be able to take charge of.
Children are very much enthusiastic to participate. What is required is the push by the state government, especially the teachers.
4 schools of Bamena Academy, Duse Model International, Brilliant Bay and Al Nima Academy participated in the NTA Duse Mini Expo.
And that's it from Kaduna Network Center.
Thank you, Rukaya. The African Democratic Congress ADC says its ideals are to inspire Nigerians on the need to ensure discipline and understand the ability needed to provide qualitative leadership. It was a remark by the party's chairman, Ralph Oke-Nwosu, on the party's preparation for the 2019 general elections. Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Nigeria is designed to inspire Africa and the black world. This is a philosophy of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, one of the Nigeria's growing political parties. Its symbol is a handshake.
Our people have not been able to manage our diversity in such a way that it will become a major potency for our development and leadership.
It is on this connection that the party seeks to attract the attention of notable Nigerians. This move begins with a formal invitation to the former Adamawa State Governor Murtala Nyako to become the party's Board of Trustees chairman.
And I pray that the Board of Trustees of this party would come up with laudable list of what is good for Nigeria.
Admiral Nyako, however, said he will formally reach out to the party after consultation with his political associates. In Abuja, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
More on politics. The Buhari Media Organization, BMO, has commended former Niger Delta militants for their decision to work for the victory of President Muhammadu Buhari in the 2019 election. In a statement, the organization hailed the decision of the ex-militants to support President Buhari's second-term bid based on his efforts at deepening peace and stability in the Niger Delta region and by initiating meaningful capital development through presidential amnesty program. While commending the ex-militant stance, Buhari Media Organization, through its chairman, Niyi Akinsiju, said it is a confirmation of Buhari's disposition to meaningful life-changing projects in the country's oil-producing region. The Buhari Media Organization, however, urged the ex-militants not to waver in its determination to work for the president's victory in the region. The People's Democratic Party considers its stronghold in spite not doing much for it in 16 years. Quality management and control of quantity surveying duties is a theme of a 2-day workshop holding in Abuja, organized by the Nigerian Institute of Quantity Surveyors. Joseph Johnson reports that participating key stakeholders in the sector are harping on the need for surveyors to enhance their capabilities in line with global best practices.
My expectation is that our members will now be providing better and improved quantity surveying services to their clients and to their employers, and thereby helping in reducing construction costs and bringing in best practices to the construction industry, and also being at par with other international consultants or businesses such that Nigerian businesses can be exported.
As many as possible to interface with international organizations who oftentimes have international conferences, and they have the best resource people, and then the global standard can now be transferred to our country.
So essentially the take home of our participants is the techniques that they will learn to polish their services henceforth, so that it will ultimately generate to greater customer satisfaction.
An Institute of Quantity Surveyors is saddled with the role of promoting the art and science of the profession in all its ramifications, among others. And now sports. Super Falcons set to begin camping for 2018.